Every perfect tile job has a secret, and it's not the tile itself, it's actually the foundation. Let me show you how to build a floor that's going to last a lifetime. The single most important step in a professional tile installation is preparing the substrate. And in our case, that's our concrete floor that was poured months ago. And if you remember, and we've talked about it, and I've showed you, our concrete has cracked over time. And that's really not a problem because if you prepare it properly, like I'm going to show you now, the tiles that you lay on top of it should never move or crack. You'll never have any problems with it. And here's how you do it. So the concrete in and of itself is probably not perfectly level, not in our house, not in your house. So you apply a mortar on top of the concrete, which kind of self levels itself on the concrete. You then attach this board, and this is an uncoupling membrane. It's got a fabric type mesh on the back, it's plastic on the top, and you adhere it to the mortar onto the concrete. And that's your first layer of defense. It's called an uncoupling membrane because it separates the concrete floor from the actual tiles so that both can move independently. So once this uncoupling membrane is attached to the mortar, it is rolled with a body roller. And all that means is it doesn't have any real weight to it. The weight that you apply is based on your own body weight, and you roll it to adhere it perfectly to the concrete. And then the final step before attaching the tiles is to put another thin layer of mortar on top of these plastic grooves. Now for the part that separates the pros from the rest of us, and that's your layout. You want your layout to be intentional and not random. Start with an area like a front door or an entryway where you want to have a full tile. And then start your measurements from that area and see where it ends on the opposite wall or when you go right or left. What you want to avoid with any size tile, whether it's 24 by 24 like we have here, or a 12 by 12 or a 4 foot by 4 foot large profile tile, is you want to avoid the potential of having a sliver, so a small little piece of tile, along a wall where you have a baseboard, because that doesn't end up looking very nice. And with a little pre-planning on the front end and shifting some of your measurements around, you can definitely avoid that. So right back to that front door entry where I just said to put in a full tile. Well, if you have a 24 by 24 and you end up with a sliver on the other side, if you cut 3 or 4 inches off of that tile on the front end, you'll never notice that difference, but you're going to avoid that sliver on the far end of your house. Once your layout is locked in, it's time to install the tiles. We already have the uncoupling membrane down and the first layer of mortar that has cured. We're now putting in a fresh coat of mortar that will adhere to the tiles. Once your tile is in place, that mortar, because the trowel has a half-inch reveal, gives it a little bit of room for leveling the tiles once in place. You then attach these what are called grout line spacers. And for our application, we went with a 1/8 inch grout line. They get installed onto the floor, and this is kind of a corner piece. So every 4 tiles will attach to this piece here. And they get screwed down with these little holders or cups, I don't know what you call them. And when they screw in, they'll actually hold the tiles in place and the level so that all 4 corners are at the same plane. The last step in a tile installation is picking the grout. And I don't mean just the color to match your tiles, but the type of grout that you're going to use. Are you going to use a sanded grout or an unsanded grout, or maybe an epoxy grout? For our application, we went with a sanded grout, a little bit more durable, but we could have done unsanded. Unsanded is highly recommended, especially when you have glass tiles that are prone to scratching. And that's how you do it. That's how you end up with a perfect tile floor. If you're ready to tackle your tile project, hit that like button and subscribe to never miss another episode. Around here, we say mock it up or mess it up. We'll see you next time.